plus years, at some point, you realized you were married into crazy.
And that's what our podcast is all about. We offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as we unpack this crazy thing called marriage.
So sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
All right, let's go.
Welcome to episode 76 of Married Into Crazy with Snooks and Lovey. If you're watching our YouTube channel and saw the intro, that enthusiasm is not a lack of enthusiasm for the podcast. We're coming off of a 3-day weekend, President's Day weekend, and I can't even begin to explain the level of exhaustion that we are both experiencing right now.
Am I going to be able to introduce myself?
Oh, I'm Lovey.
Wow, I'm Snooks. Good Lord.
See how tired we are? You can probably hear my voice a little bit. It was a full weekend. I hope you all had a great
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, President's Day weekend. I'm sorry, I just skipped over Valentine's Day.
What is, oh, wait, that's okay. See, we are tripping. Valentine was Friday,
And that's when we
President's
left.
Day was Monday. That's when we came back.
See what happens when your parents, okay, so for all the couples out there, if your parents and you got kids and they got kids' activities and they got all this stuff going on, it just happened to be like adjacent to Valentine's Day. And we just skipped completely over Valentine's Day. I know we talked about it on the podcast last week about what we were leading into. And then, Friday came, time for the kids, and we just took off. So you put everything on standby. Talking to Mike.
Wow.
And so it's crazy because that's exactly what happened. Saturday we drove into the Bay Area and got situated in the hotel. Didn't get there until later in the evening. After a long day of work, we both just took off. And it's funny how those 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, just flew by. And then now we're supposed to sit here and go to work and do what we do. And you're just exhausted.
Well, you're exhausted and you're tired, exhilarated, and just like, on one hand, it's like, I'm so ready for volleyball to be over.
And
We
it just began.
got started, yeah. But then when you watch the girls play, it's exciting at times.
Draining at
It's
times.
very draining sometimes when you see them get discouraged and when things don't go the way that they are anticipating, whatever, you try to stay up, or it's hard for me when I'm watching. I'm like, geez, Manise, are we doing this again? Sometimes you see the meltdowns and whatever. It's like, come on, girls, you got it in you. You got the stuff. And
So don't turn off the podcast.
yeah, okay, but so
Because we're going to talk about volleyball, but we're also going to talk about relationships.
Well,
and
that's
I'd
what
like
we're
to
talking
toggle
about.
back and forth.
go ahead.
No, I want you to go, but I just want to say that I don't want to lose people thinking like, oh, here we go again, volleyball.
Well, I mean, one thing about we equate it to volleyball because that's the sport that our house is about, But it's about a team also, I think everyone knows that. Well, I'm gonna say everyone, but a sport, it's a team, and it requires a team to be able for it to work. You could be good over there, you could be good
Teamwork
there.
makes the dream work.
But it's so true in reality and in our relationship. We're a team. So if I'm off, you're on, I need you to be a little bit
Extra
more
on.
on for me and vice versa. And sometimes we, like you said, we will talk about volleyball. And there are a lot of life lessons that we tell the girls, these are life lessons, how you get through, how you push through, how you persevere. And that's all great, but then it's funny we say that, but then in our own lives sometimes we hit a wall. And I'm like, dang, what was that speech I gave my daughter about being able to push through and being able to persevere, because I got nothing, even if we're being honest, leading up to turning the mic on. you know, the discouragement of, because we're so tired, and I have all these great things I want to talk about and all these in my head, and I'm like, I'll write down something like, oh, I want to talk about this, and then I only write down a portion of it, and because I'm going, doing all these different things, I can't even remember what I was, I'm like, dang, that was some good stuff too. Lovey's like, well, make sure you know, what is it, voice record or write notes, or I don't know. I like you said, it just gets discouraging sometimes, and it's like, so there are days when we're getting ready to do our podcast, and I'm like, dude, you gotta carry it. I feel like Lovey carries it more than I do anyway, but I'm like, I need you to put the extra, and he's looking at me like, girl, I'm just as tired as you are. I work too, and I blah blah whatever. So
it's not just about the podcast, but the thing is, I mean, and we do have a topic.
no, I just meant about like just right before.
Oh, today, yeah, today was extra. I mean, it was like extra difficult because of the amount of work that we put in this previous weekend. And when I say amount of work, so this was a 3-day volleyball tournament, and imagine we've got 10 teenage girls ranging from freshman to senior, all participating at a very high level, playing 17U. We've got a very young senior with a very mature freshman that are all participating. And there's a range of emotions that take place in heavy competition. This is one of those times where this weekend was incredible because we went in at a relatively high rank and then had to battle. I mean, right off the get-go, from the very beginning, we had to play the number 3 team. Then we had to play the number 1 team. Then we had to play a number 7 team. Then we had, so it was just like back to back to back, where it was the girls got so excited about what was in front of them, and then they faced an enormous amount of disappointment because though they were achieving and doing well, they weren't hitting their goal of getting to a certain level. And yet, when it was all said and done, they did. They had to battle through serious adversities of, as most teenage girls do, attitude and mental fortitude and being able to get through that, and then experiencing the highs of some major plays and winning, and then managing those emotions, that mania, if you will, of hitting the very top, the crescendo, and then crashing down again because at the last second something was taken away from them, or they just lost. I won't say it was taken away, but it was one of those things they lost due to a minor mistake. But these things add up, and I say all of that because all weekend long I kept looking at them thinking, this is just like relationships. There's so many different things. So imagine this: when you first start out in your relationship, the dating phase, and you meet somebody, however it may be, through work, through friends, online dating, what have you, however you meet. But there's that beginning phase. Remember that word? It's like
Euphoria.
The euphoria, exactly. It's that newness. It's brand new, and it's something that's exhilarating. And you're like, oh, I can't wait till I see her again, or I can't wait till I see him again. And the sound of their voice on the phone is exciting. And then you make these plans. But imagine that those plans fall through. Then all of a sudden you have disappointment. You're still excited about the relationship. You're still excited about the things that that you have planned beyond that. But now you're let down, so you have to manage that emotion. And then there's some promises that are made that, okay, we'll get together this following weekend or what have you. And then you make all these plans again, and then something happens on your side and you can't. Then there's this huge buildup, and then it falls again. And then you start to doubt, like, well, is this meant to be? Is it something that is supposed to happen? And if not, whatever. So then there's that doubt that starts to creep in. And then there's this, okay, well, we're going to then you get together, and it's not the big, plans that you had. It was just, a hangout. Like, you're like, oh, okay, we'll just meet for coffee. And then you find that it didn't have to be anything big. It was a small win, just coming together over coffee or ice cream or whatever. And you're like, oh, and it's another form of excitement. So it's like this roller coaster ride going up and down, but learning that you have to manage your emotions. And watching the girls this weekend reminded me of all of that. And I think those are some of the things that I don't think we get into enough when we talk about relationships.
Also, and just one thing, like you said, watching them. So our girls have, have a tendency, like Lovey said, they played the number 1 team, they played the number 3 team,
We
and
played
then
the
they
number 3
played
team
some.
twice.
They played a few lower level. I won't say lower level, but higher, like 20 something
Lower
teams
seeds.
or lower seats. You know, number 27, number 23, or what have you. And some of the, you know, that not saying that they weren't good volleyball teams, but they weren't as good as the number 1 team. So one thing that our team seems to do, they play at the level of their competition. So number 3 team came, number 1 team came, and they went out there, and man, we made them earn every single point that they got. We didn't give anything away. They were very, you know, but then some of the other teams, I was like, but you were just all over the place with, you know, but they played down to the level of competition. And I find that sometimes in relationships we do the same thing. Not so much playing, but it's like if you're not in a giving mood, I'm not going to be in one either. Or if you're feeling some kind of way, well, he acted like such, well, forget him, because I'm going to be, you know, so that I'm going to do the same thing. So that's, you know, that's one thing that I thought about that. I was like, that's something that we do in
It's true.
relationships.
And, well, yeah, I think the way I take what you're saying is that when you're talking about playing to the level of the competition in a relationship, it's not so much the competition, but you're meeting the energy of the person that's sitting or standing across from you.
So you're changing. I'm sorry. You're changing. Like I could have came downstairs and I was in a fabulous mood. I woke up feeling great, and I'm like, this is gonna be a great day. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Let me get my stuff, and then I'm like, Lovey, how are you? Good morning. You're fine. I'm fine. I'm busy. And so I let how your emotions or your actions just totally changed my mood. And so now I'm reciprocating your emotions instead of saying, oh, okay, he's having a bad day or he's having a bad moment. I'm like, anyway, I know you, Shane. Why you acting all, you know, or I'll go there. So I'll change who I am, or so I mimic how you are, because I don't know why that happens. It's like, I ain't finna be nice to him because he made me mad. So it not even so much that you made me mad, but why would I be nice to you when you're being mean to me? So I'm not gonna be my authentic, how I really was feeling. So now I'm gonna act this way. I'm going out of my way now to mimic your attitude. Does that make sense?
It does. You're playing to the competition, so to speak.
Well, exactly. That's what I mean by that.
Yeah, you're matching
We
the energy.
We do that in our relationships also.
I think everybody is guilty of that to some form. As much as you think that you are like you have the quintessential relationship, I think if each of us was honest, you could think of a moment or several moments where you ended up matching the energy of that other person, and that's something that we have to really guard ourselves against. It's funny because if you see me on the sideline with our volleyball team, I'm constantly going nuts. I'm running up and down the sideline, and actually not as much as I used to. I leave that to Scott. He jumps and screams and gets on the floor. It's hilarious. But I used to do that. But I will bark out to the girls at times. And one of my most consistent things I say is create your own energy. I tell the girls that all the time because there's these wild swings in point spreads. I mean, you could be up 6 points, and the next thing you know, you're down 5. I mean, it's just these wild swings that go back and forth, and it's all about momentum. Well, relationships have momentum as well. And we have to create our own energy within our relationships, because there's times where if the energy on the other side is negative, or not even negative, even if the energy is just low for whatever reason, you have to be able to recognize what the environment is and then step in and talk about, okay, you know what? I see this for what it is. Let me make it happen. You know that old saying, make it happen, Captain. You got to do that. But no, and I say you got to. Now, in no way, shape, or form am I saying that, we have that ability at all times. There's times where she's in a funk, and then her funk matches my funk, or I we're like playing poker. I see your funk, and I raise you
And I
two
raised
funks.
you two funks. That's a good.
So
That's a good way of putting that, because we do that because you're not gonna be more funky than me.
right,
I
oh, you
promise
want some funk? I'll show you
show
funk.
you some funk. You ain't about to be more funky than me.
And then we'll end up in separate rooms, So this isn't utopia over here all the time.
But then, and then even after a certain amount of time, I'm like, what was I mad at again? Why was I mad?
Right.
Now I'm and I will make it a point if I feel like I've been wronged, I'll say no, I don't do it. But if I have in the past made it a point to be like, oh, I'm gonna stay mad. I don't care. Even if I'm not mad, I'm getting ready to act like I'm mad because I don't want to be the first one to concede. Because there was a prize in that, apparently, not being the first one to concede.
It's this invisible prize.
Exactly. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's bragging rights or, I was able to be more mean or stay mad longer than you. So, I don't know where I'm going with that.
Anyway.
But...
No, but I would say it's one of those things, you're still stuck on the two funks.
Oh, yeah.
No, and it's true because we saw that happen. It happens with our girls. And it's funny, even the most basic relationships that you see between teammates, we'll have a girl, and it doesn't matter which one. Any one of the 10 girls can be having a bad moment. There's times where, they commit an error. And that means that, they shank the ball or something happens and they commit an error and the team loses a point because the other team gains a point. So then the other team sees, kind of like the enemy, like the devil. The devil will see what your momentary weakness is, and it'll attack, right? And same thing, volleyball team, the opposing team, they see that, oh, that person's having difficulty passing right now. So the coach will see that and then tell the girls, okay, serve it to her. Mm-hmm. And they'll keep going to that same individual. Or, on an attack, it's like, okay, I want you to hit in this particular area because that girl's having difficulty. Or she's got an attitude right now.
Ball quick enough.
She's mad. Exactly. Something's going on. It's like, and you can frustrate that individual. Mm-hmm. Same thing in a relationship. Now, we have to be careful about whose team we decide we want to be on.
That's true.
Because there's moments where we're talking about, I see your funk and I'll raise you two funks. Well, in the same respect, the enemy could be at hand saying, okay, you know what? I see that there's a little funk going on, so I'm gonna put a little bit more stank on it, so to speak.
Exactly.
I'm gonna put a little bit more something on there.
Bring some more sauce to it.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. And by doing that, by adding fuel to the fire, you might get into a moment where you're like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. And all of a sudden, you're no longer on. You switch teams. Mm-hmm. You're no longer on team couple. You're now on team me.
Yep.
In the moment. Me in the moment can destroy team couple at any given time.
Say that again. I promise you. Yes.
And so
say it again.
Oh, say it again. So team. Oh, my bad. So team me in the moment can destroy a team couple at any given moment.
That is so profound. I mean, just hearing you say that, it's just like, wow, eye-opening. Even though we know that, but to hear it, because all that means is
I
that...
say some good stuff every now and then.
You do.
I'm just saying.
Well, all right. So...
It was in a comic book, I think. But
okay. But yeah, so now I'm mad, and I'm about to go do something stupid.
It's almost like we just get... when they say, that person must be out of their mind.
You must be crazy.
Literally.
Right.
And those team me in the moments, you really are out of your mind because you're not thinking straight. You're like, okay, oh, okay, so you're mad at me because I didn't do, A, B, and C. Okay, well, fine. You know what? You want to be mad? I'll give you something to be mad about.
Right.
Where is the logic in that?
So basically, you're about to cut off your nose to spite your face.
Amen. And so many of us, come on, be truthful. So many of us do that. So sometimes, so if you come to the podcast and you're looking for answers on, well, how do I fix this and how do I overcome that? I'll admit, sometimes we may have some answers. We can give you some examples of things that we've gone through. But sometimes we gets a little Socratic, meaning we answer a question with a question. Sometimes the question of marriage, the question of relationships, the question of being the question of all these parenting, all these things that we do isn't necessarily such a black and white response or an answer. Sometimes it's more like we pose the question, talk it out, and give these different things only for, I guess, to make it more food for thought, to help you think through it more, to help us think through it more.
Because in every decision that's being made, like anything that you do, there is a process. There should be a process, a thought process. And like Lovey says, we'll throw something out and we'll say, well, this is what we did to get through this. And we did X and we did Y and we did Z. X, Y, and Z may not apply to you or it may not work for you, but X might or Y might or maybe even W, whatever,
And it may not even be any of those combinations,
at all.
but it might spur enough or be the catalyst for you to find your own solution. It'll put you in a mindset that will hopefully get you to look at things a little bit differently, changing your perspective. And that's ultimately the goal. And here's the good news. Throughout this entire weekend, we lost 4 games in 3 days. Again, if I sit here and count, I could probably count all the number of times we played, but those
Played
4
9 times.
So of those 9 we had 5 wins, 4 losses. The 2 of those losses were to the exact same team. We played the team we played in the very first match is the same team we played in the very last match, and everything in between was preparing us for that last moment. We went in the tournament as number 11, and then we dropped to
27.
22.
I thought it was 27.
No, 22, and then went back up to 11, then went to,
Stayed 11.
well, we were 11, then we moved to 6, and then we had an opportunity to move up to the 3rd spot and be in contention for the championship because of the level at which we were playing. The team that won the entire thing, our loss, our point loss differential, if you will, was the lowest of anybody they played all weekend. Now, on the win-loss column, again, we're talking relationships too, but in the win-loss column, it shows that there was a loss. But when you look at the number of points that was scored against them and the number of points that they were able to score against us, the number is always 25. But when you look at the difference between what we scored and what they scored, we had the lowest differential of any team that had played them. And they went undefeated the entire weekend.
Yeah, they lose a game.
But I guess we lost better to them than anybody else did. And then the other team that we played twice, and they beat us both times. First time they smashed us. The second time we took them to 3 sets, which means you have to win 2 out of 3. Where they only lost 3 sets, if you will, all weekend. It takes 3 sets per match, but and this is way too much volleyball. I already know it. Please don't glaze over.
I'm like glazed right now.
But
I was there.
what I was explaining to the girls was that these young ladies, this other team, only basically experienced 3 losses, if you will. You have to win 2 out of 3. But they won their matches, but they only lost 3 sets all weekend. One was to us, and one was the 2 straight sets that they lost in the championship match. And the reason why I share all that with you is that even in your relationship, there's going to be wins and losses. There's going to be moments where you just screw up, and you have to own it. Like we asked our girls to do this weekend. We asked them, you know what? We took a loss. We took an L. But what did you learn from it? There's a lesson in there somewhere. And it can't just be like, oh, they're better than me and we lost. No, there has to be something. What did you do better than you've ever done before in that particular set, that particular match? Oh, well, I did this. I blocked a little bit better. My footing got better. Okay, so your footing got better. We still took a loss, right? Right. But did you get better? Did the team get better? Did we learn something that we can now apply in the next time we play? And we got the girls to focus on where they improved, focus on the short-term wins, and then see if we can take those short-term wins and expand them so that way we can create more wins or better outcomes down the road. The same thing in our relationships. When you see somebody, when your partner comes in with bad energy and they have funk, and the last time he or she had funk, and you was like, okay, I see your funk, and I raise you too. And then you call, you throw in all your chips. I'm going all the way in. I'm giving you all my funk. Mm-hmm. When that happens, and you realize, okay, nobody wins in that situation, and you recognize it happening again, did you learn from the last time? Did you recognize that, okay, that outcome was bad all the way around for everyone involved, and it took us a while to recover from that. So now when you recognize, oh, I see that energy building, that negative energy, okay, let me just approach this from a different standpoint, and you're able to negate it. Are you able now to say, okay, you know what? I turned that previous loss into a win right now for both of us.
But you have to be willing to put the work in also. Because, like you said, I know how for myself, I feel myself just starting to, it's like the funk, I feel it starting to creep on me and to crawl on me or whatever. And I feel myself getting in a mood. And so I have to consciously say, okay, Snooks, you're tripping, or you're feeling some kind of way, or blah, blah, blah. You need to work on that. Let's be better about that. Or in some days I'm like, oh, I'll just have it. I have to be honest, and I tell Lovey, okay, I'm on one right now, and he's like, okay. So I allow my partner to help me work through why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, because it doesn't help either one of us. It actually doesn't help anyone in our house, but it helps no one for me to acknowledge my mood and stay in it. If
Right.
I'm going to stay in it, then I should make sure that I stay in my room while I'm in my funk, because that's not fair to everyone else in the house, for me to be that way. Because what's that saying? When mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. That really is true in our house,
Amen. I'll tell you right now.
But it's also the same thing with, I kind of,
I'll
I
just say,
try
don't even try and say if daddy ain't happy, ain't nobody happy, because that is not. If daddy ain't happy, don't nobody care.
Ooh, Lovey.
I'm just saying.
Are you serious?
It doesn't
right
carry
now?
the same weight. It does not carry the same weight.
Lovey.
There might be a body count when
Lovey.
daddy is unhappy.
So
but
I'm just.
if mama ain't happy, I mean.
So then that makes it worse when you're not happy, because I'm not killing people and trying to
Okay.
take them out.
Okay, I just gotta go on this tangent real quick.
Here we go.
No, it's not really even a tangent. But I'm gonna
You
tell
just
you.
called it one.
Okay, here's the deal. Here's the tangent. Somebody the other day gave me an analogy of husband and wife. And I can't remember who it was. And this is going to drive me nuts. But somebody said, yes, the husband is the head of the household. But the wife is the neck. Because you might be the head, but without the neck, you are stuck in one position and you can't move. The head requires the neck to look, to do, to nod, to whatever. The head can't do nothing without the neck.
Look, I'm moving my head right now. I'm like, oh, that is true, huh?
The absolute truth. He said, because I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was one of my accounts. We were talking about relationships, and they had asked, and somehow or another, one of them knew I had a podcast. I don't even think it was me that said something. It might have been one of the staff members, and she had said, "You do realize that yes, the husband is the head of the household, but the wife is the neck."
I like that.
And I was like,
I like that.
"Wow, okay."
I like that. I'm gonna start using that.
So that's my little tip. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You said Mama is not happy and nobody happy.
No, but I'm just saying, I was agreeing with that statement in our household. So we try to make sure that we create an environment that is not so combative, confrontational, or whatever. We want everyone in our house to be comfortable. Well, I say that, but I'm ready for the two strangers to go.
Don't even go there. Don't even go there.
Anyway. But I just know that if I'm in a bad mood, if I'm in a funk, that others around me feel it. And sometimes I'm like, okay, Lovey, I just feel this kind of way or what have you. And it makes sense for us to work out what's going on. Okay, so let's talk that through. Why do you feel this way? What's happening here? Blah, 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 whatever. Because that's how our house functions better. So I'm not going to be just mad just to be mad because now I'm making everybody miserable. Some people do that.
Well, see, look, This is one of those situations where I know we're 30 minutes in. I should have brought it up sooner. But for those of you still with us, this is where your assessment comes into play. This is one of those things where self-assessment, knowing who you are, makes a huge difference. Now, I'm not saying it's the panacea. It's not the cure-all. It's not the thing that is going to fix every scenario. But I tell you that when you get in those moments where you recognize that there's a funk coming on, or there's a bad energy, or something's happening that's going down the path that you don't want to go down, if you have the ability to be able to start to begin to read yourself or understand your preference or tendencies, like the DISC assessment allows you to do, then you can at least identify it that much sooner or more often. I'm not saying it's going to happen every time, because we're all still human. We're all going to make mistakes in our relationships, in our professional lives, and just about every area. No one's perfect. But by at least knowing your preferences and tendencies, it will help you to be able to at least shorten the duration of the funk. Case in point, our house was just hit by a cold. And you know, we the youngest one, Kiki, had the flu, and that went on for weeks, and it was miserable. It was horrible for her. And then I ended up having a cold, and I felt like something was coming on. And they always say, okay, well, you take zinc. Take zinc at the earliest sign of any symptoms. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to catch the cold, but what it can do is shorten the length of it. Same thing with your DISC assessment. Taking the DISC isn't going to make you immune to what may ail your relationship or ail the situation that you're in, but what it can do is shorten the duration of the discomfort, because you're able to recognize what's going on, then put a plan in action and recognize, okay, well, you know what? I messed up, but I know that I have the tendency to do this, so I am going to, whether I'm a high D or low, you know, where you are on the spectrum of D, I, S, and C will give you an idea of, okay, this is what I need to do. Not only does it tell you who you are, but it also gives you some solutions as to these are the things that I need to do in order to rectify the situation that I'm in, and maybe make it better next time. And the more adept you get with it, the better you are the next time that situation arises. And so whether you're a couple, we can work with you in doing that. If you go to our website at marriedintocrazy.com/coaching, take the assessment. It's definitely worth it. If you want to move forward with making sure that, for, metaphor reasons, you want to shorten the duration of your cold, you want to shorten the duration of your discomfort when it comes to a relationship, or if you're having difficulty at work, I can work with you on that as well. There's a variety of things, or whatever area that you're in. You're an entrepreneur, you got these things that you're doing, and you're trying to figure out why you keep making the same mistakes or what have you. This DISC assessment will help you.
Well, and then, like you said, so as far as with the DISC assessment helping you, so Lovey, there, he did the assessment for the girls.
The majority.
The majority of the team, and it's helped in the sense that when he sees, players when they get on in their funk, or when they get in their whatever they're having a hard time, he's able to take this assessment and go over it with them, or point out key things, and they're able to make a connection or readjust or whatever it is. He uses the assessment to speak to them and also to help them kind of speak to themselves, if I'm saying it the right way.
I've never actually sat down and gone over it with them, because I would want to do that with their parents, and just a time. Yeah. But what I do, but the parents know that the ones that have actually given permission for the girls to take this, what I've done is I have it accessible even on my phone. So what I'll do is, if a situation arises, I will take a look at it and be like, okay, so what's going on? Okay, oh, that's right. This person's, got, this is their profile. This is what they do. This is how the best way to communicate with them. And okay, this is probably why they do this, because of this. Okay, so I know how to approach them. Mm-hmm. And then I do my best to speak their language in a manner in which is going to be,
that's what I mean.
It's disarming to a certain extent, because you can walk in, like with me being a very high D, I could walk in, and if somebody's just giving funk, I could be in like, okay, I can go old school, like my coaches were when I was growing up, and be like, okay, this is the way it's going to be, because I said this is the way it is, and and you can do it my way, or it's the highway. Or I can be like, hey, I recognize that you're going through some situation right now, and normally you do things this way, and you're one of our leaders, and this is how you approach it, but I also recognize that you're having a difficult time right now. So, and then I think about the best way to approach them based on their preferences and tendencies, and then have that communication with them, and then they're much more receptive to a solution. And so we're able to put solutions in place, but I let them participate in the process. So what do you think about this? And then they're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, because, and the girls walk away thinking, oh, coach is just like me. And I am to an extent, because it's not so much that I'm just like them.
But you're able to speak to them.
Exactly. I have a better understanding of them than I did a year ago.
But don't you also, I mean, haven't you also said, okay, when you're feeling this way, XYZ, then you're able to, I mean, because I've seen it with the players, some of the players, and they're like, it's like they have aha moments sometimes on the court.
Right. And it's great because I actively see some of the girls working through some of the challenges they have. And it's a beautiful thing when you see, 16, 17, 15-year-old girls that are having more or developing emotional intelligence that a lot of adults that I work with don't have. So it's kind of fun in that respect. And knowing that you have that. And this is the same thing we can talk about relationships. It is a level of emotional intelligence that you'll be able to have and be able to garner and grow by knowing yourself. But it's hard to do if you don't know who you are or why you do the things that you do. So this I didn't mean for this to turn into a big old thing about disc, but it's one of those things where, when you have that funk, you have to know how to really stop playing to the level of the competition or stop matching energy for energy, and instead looking at the environment you're in, the situation you're in, recognizing the energy and discerning whether or not this is the right energy for the moment or the environment that you're in, and then hopefully being able to change it, being a part of that change, whatever it may be. See, look, when we started this podcast, Snooks and I were in a bit of a funk because we were tired, but we were able to raise our energy just by talking about some of those things that energized us over the weekend. And I think that helped. Well, she's giving me that side eye right now. Like
no.
I'm still mad. No, I'm still tired. No. And that's just some things to think about as we go forward. And so we're going to continue to try and bring you the best that we possibly can and hopefully raise your energy every opportunity that we get. Again, once a week, every Wednesday, the Married into Crazy podcast comes out in all of the major venues. And we hope that you are enjoying, our little banter going back and forth. Sometimes we bring you solutions. Hopefully sometimes we just bring you food for thought that gives you a different perspective, and it helps you find your own solutions to whatever the challenge is that you're going through. Maybe it's not even a challenge. Maybe you hear something that we're talking about that may help you help another couple. And so please, please, please invite them to participate in the conversation by listening to the podcast or going to our website at marriedintocrazy.com. There's so much there that you can actually glean from there, and go back, listen to some of the old podcasts as well. But like we do at the end of every single podcast, it's 2 for the road. So now it's time for us to pull from the couple's I Can, which by the way is available on marriedintocrazy.com in the shop. So I'm going to pull mine. Last week, mine said I could cook dinner for my partner. I did not. But I did take her to dinner at Big Al's. We went to this spot called Big Al's down in I think it's Santa Clara that we were in. No, it was Milpitas.
Oh.
We stayed in Milpitas.
I thought you stayed in San Jose.
No, it was Milpitas. And so this place called Big Al's, it's like this big sports place, kind of like Dave and Buster's. I'll be honest with you, I like this place more than I like Dave and Buster's.
Babe.
What?
What? Because of the bar area or whatever?
The bar was cool.
I know, but you didn't go and play games and stuff
I did.
like we did. No, you did
I
not.
didn't play the video games. I played
The horseshoe game?
no, what's that thing called?
Hacky sack?
No, cornhole.
Oh.
It's called cornhole. That was fun.
What is hacky sack?
That's when you kick the little beanbag type thing.
Oh.
Anyway, so now here she goes. She's gonna start thinking of stuff.
I just wondered what it was.
Go ahead and read your affirmation from your I Can.
I can pick up after myself.
Ooh, let's save that one. Hold on. I'm going to put this one off to the
I
side.
know your shame.
Put
I
up.
do pick up after myself. And then say
On
I
the
can
kitchen
pick up
sink?
after myself and everyone else in the house.
I can pick, no, on the kitchen